fresh meat.
Welcome to the latest episode of JoBlo and Arrow in the Heads, the UFO show, where we count down the top 5 coolest, most compelling UFO stories of the past month. In this edition, we look at a potential act of war committed by a UFO, life on Venus, and a sighting right off the International Space Station. Let's not waste any more time. Number 5. An experienced commercial airline pilot has what he believes is a very close encounter indeed. The incident took place in March of 2019, but the pilot recently recounted the incident for the History Channel series Unidentified. The pilot, who wished to remain unidentified, interesting, remembered flying to Argentina in the middle of the night when he spotted a bright white orb following the plane. Wisely taking out his phone to record the spooky sighting, the pilot recorded what he says looks like an orb inside another orb. The pilot was also smart enough to record footage of his radar, which shows evidence of the mysterious ship to his right. He claims it was there for about 5 minutes and was, quote, definitely bigger than a 747. The pilot was quick to note that he's used to seeing compelling objects in the sky, such as the International Space Station and even meteors. But this incident left him without answers. Number 4. Speaking of the International Space Station, did it just miss out on an otherworldly encounter? Intriguing new footage from the ISS, as it's also known, could indeed prove so. The footage was spotted by self-described Earth Watchman MRMBB333. We think that's a code name, by the way, who keeps an eye on all sorts of fascinating phenomenon on this planet and beyond. The Earth Watchman was evidently watching footage of astronauts working outside of the ISS when he spotted a mysterious object zoom by them in the distance. When the footage is slowed down, you can faintly make out what looks to be a craft of some kind, maybe one sporting antenna or legs, according to the conspiracy theorist. If you take a look for yourself, it's clear this isn't just a space rock or comet. So what is it? Doubters might surmise it's just a satellite or some space debris, but we're not so sure. Take a look and let us know what you see. Number 3. Did a UFO commit an act of war against the US? According to a former US Navy fighter pilot, the answer is yes. Retired Commander David Fravor appeared on a podcast with MIT research scientist Lex Friedman recently.
The following is a conversation with Commander David Fravor,
and recounted a close encounter with an unidentified flying object. And it wasn't necessarily a friendly run-in. Footage of the incident, which was declassified by the Pentagon earlier this year, has been seen plenty of times by thousands, and it still never gets old. The encounter happened on November 14, 2004, off the coast of San Diego. The 40-foot-long tic-tac-shaped object is followed by fighter pilots who are clearly amazed by what they're witnessing. Fravor, who had been flying a jet for over 18 years at the time, said it was unlike anything he'd ever seen. The footage of the tic-tac was taken by pilot Chad Underwood, who chased the object and attempted to lock his radar onto the stealthy ship, but his radar was actively jammed. And that's why this much-seen video is in the news again, because, according to Fravor, jamming someone else's radar is tantamount to an act of war.
When you actively jam another platform, yes, it's technically an act of war.
Whoa. Podcast host Friedman called Fravor one of the most credible UFO witnesses in history. Now, as this happened in 2004, it's safe to say no war has broken out between the US and visitors from another world. That we know of anyway. But this is still a very intriguing new wrinkle in what is one of the most stunning UFO sightings in the modern era. This video is doing for UFOs what the famed footage of a large, hairy beast did for Bigfoot. Number 2. Lest you think it's just the American government starting to take UFOs seriously, as we found out last month, it turns out we're not alone. Recently, Japan's Defense Minister Taro Kono unveiled new protocols on what to do if Japan's military forces happen to encounter an unidentified flying object. Kono was evidently spurred on by the US's declassification of alleged UFO footage earlier this year. While the defense minister says he doesn't personally believe in UFOs, he would still like for those in charge of watching Japan's skies to keep an eye out, saying, quote, "If you can take a picture, take a picture. If there's a report, report it." Kono met with U.S. Secretary of Defense Mark Esper back in April, and the topic of UFOs was brought up in the conversation, which then apparently prompted him to say, quote, "I would like to establish a procedure in case of an encounter." We think that's solid thinking. Better safe than sorry when it comes to these sorts of encounters. One person in Japan might be happy to hear her country is taking UFOs seriously. Mayuki Hatoyama is the wife of Japan's former Prime Minister Yukio Hatoyama. Mrs. Hatoyama claimed in a book published some 12 years ago that her soul rode on a triangular-shaped UFO and went to Venus while she was asleep, going on to say that Venus was a, quote, "very beautiful place and really green." Well, who are we to doubt her? Besides, Venus is the planet that's all the rage right now with searchers for life from another world. Which brings us to this week's number 1 most exciting extraterrestrial news. Number 1. And now for the number 1 coolest Is There Life Out There news of the month. Is there life on Venus? It would appear so. Earlier in September, scientists revealed they had discovered traces of a gas called phosphine in Venus's excitic clouds. Phosphine on the planet Earth can be caused by microscopic organisms that live in environments where there is no oxygen, hence a sign of life on Venus, where the temperature is a cool 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Molecular astrophysicist Clara Sue Silva made the following eye-popping statement, quote, "What we currently know of Venus, the most plausible explanation for phosphine, as fantastical as it might sound, is life." Wow. The discovery was made by astronomers testing out the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope in Hawaii, one of the largest telescopes in the world. Well, the lead professor admits they were just testing out the telescope's capabilities. Finding the evidence of phosphine in the planet's clouds was a complete shock. This news follows the revelation made by scientists in July that Venus has about 40 active volcanoes on its surface. Significant because it has long been thought that Venus is no longer an active planet. Clearly, there's more going on Venus, which has often been referred to as Earth's evil twin. Let's hope that, if there is life there, it behaves more like Earth's fun-loving brother. And that's it for now, folks. The truth is out there, somewhere, and we're going to be keeping an eye on things for all you true believers. And if you have anything to share with us, don't hesitate to send us an email at ufoshow@joblo.com. We're eager to hear from all our fellow UFO enthusiasts. Also, please share your thoughts and any cool UFO-related news you have in the comments section. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as we're going to be your one-stop shop for all things UFO-related going forward. So until next month, keep watching the skies.